Pete of the Two Sick Monkeys. Hello, Pete.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good.
And Pete is part of a two-piece band, but you guys have such a full sound with just a bass and a drummer. How do you achieve that?
I don't know, luck really, and just I guess we have an amp and an amp. So essentially, it's like the setup of a three-piece band or a four-piece band if you just had just a vocalist. So you have a bass goes into a distortion pedal for one, into a bass amp, and then run a line into another amp and just take all the bass off that. It's actually another bass amp, but it just sounds like it's a guitar then. Yeah. So essentially, it's just a normal band setup, but there's only two people doing it, if you know what I mean. And I think the fact we trade lead vocals, so it's not one particular lead vocalist, it just keeps it maybe a little bit more interesting.
Definitely, and a drummer is a lead vocalist as well, which is an unusual thing.
Yeah, you don't get so many. I mean, a lot of the drummers that have been lead vocalists, I suppose, with the exception of Phil Collins, maybe, have all been pretty fantastic. Like, because it's easy-ish to sing and play guitar, yes. But you're doing a lot more as a drummer, and to be able to sing, and you tend to, most time you're not facing the same way, so you're on a really weird angle, so fair play,
Oh, I absolutely agree, and it's mind-blowing to watch you guys, because it is such a full sound, and it is such a good sound, and then just watching, and sometimes the drummer singing, sometimes you're singing. I love it.
Oh, I'm glad. I mean, it's lovely when people say nice things, like it would be in any walk of life, wouldn't it? If somebody said something nice about you or to you, you just think, yeah, this is great. But personally, I can't obviously speak for Fred, but I like to see people smiling. That's all that matters to me. Nothing else is important, because if people in the crowd are happy, that makes you happy, and if they see you happy, maybe that makes them more happy. And
it's a cycle, and everybody gets happier because one person started getting happy.
You're in a very lucky. I guess privileged is the right word, although privilege has a lot of other connotations.
A lot of connotations,
but it's a very lucky and privileged position to be in a band and to be able to play to a crowd of people that, for the most part, have paid money to come and see you. So and to then know that what you're doing gives people some small degree of happiness is a pretty fucking ace thing, to be fair. There's not much in life, like, when you go around and fix someone's washing machine, they don't suddenly turn around and start beaming with pride.
I don't know, when the guy replaced my boiler, I was very happy that.
Right. Maybe I just I don't enjoy my washing machine being fixed.
Who enjoys washing machines anyway? And how long have you been doing Two Sick Monkeys?
Two Sick Monkeys, we started in December 2000, so it'll be 17 years by the time we stop, so that'd be it's quite a long time to be.
It is.
Two people in the same car.
And you come down together to the gigs normally, or?
Yeah, always, Well, it's very rare that we don't. I mean, sometimes because I used to play in a band called Dead Subverts with some good friends of ours from up here, Matt and Bo and Jake, sometimes I would, because everything was by bus and train to go and play with that band, because we all lived in different parts of the country, and so we'd all kind of converge in the middle at a gig, and sometimes Two Sick Monkeys would play on the same gig, so I might have made my way up to meet with them boys the night before to practice, but yeah, normally always in the car together, chat for about half hour, and then quiet for 2 hours.
A quiet drive up to wherever you're going.
Well, you pretty much exhaust every bit of conversation, because there's only the two of you, so you're talking with each other, and it's amazing how quickly you can run through loads and loads of different things, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, we fucking spoke about everything.
Look, there's a tree at the side of the road.
Yeah, it's a tree. It's another services. Yes.
Yay, the services.
Services make me happier than washing machines.
Me too, actually, because they are very necessary things.
Yeah, certainly.
Now, you mentioned about when you're ending. Why is Two Sick Monkeys calling it a day now?
I'm not totally sure, to be honest. I know. I don't know if it's my place to say, but for the last year or two, Fred's hearing's been struggling. So I think, and as well, Fred Fred's the only one that drives in the band, so everywhere we've gone, Fred's drove. I mean, and sometimes we've done some fucking stupid drives. Like we left one time. We left from Swindon and drove pretty much non-stop all the way to Dresden in East Germany. Played a gig within like half hour or so of getting there, and poor old Fred's just collapsed. So I think a lot of that. I think it's just taken a lot out of him. Maybe he's just, and I think we've gone as far as we can go. You know, it's like we've had a fucking good run. Like people have been incredibly nice to us, and supportive, and just. Bring you a lot of happiness. Like, it's been, like I said before, it is a privilege to be in a band, and for me personally, without wanting to sound too up my own arse, it's a proper privilege to be in this band because we get so much sort of love and proper kindness off people. So it'd be sad to stop, but maybe we've gone as far as we can, and it'd be better to stop before we get too shit and just be going through the motions.
I don't think you would get to that point, but.
You never know. We're not getting any younger. I mean, I'll be 50 before we stop playing. And if I'd been told when I was like 23 that I'm going to be still playing in a punk rock band when I'm 50, you'd have just laughed at people because even the thought of just getting old would have been enough. But like the thought of still playing in a band as if you're a teenager, and it's like.
50? My God, you should be half dead by then.
I should have been dead a long time ago. I don't know. I managed to. I survived the cancer. I survived the stroke. It's like, so I'm starting to feel not that I'm invincible or indestructible, but that maybe I'm just a little bit lucky.
You're a bit lucky and you're a survivor, definitely.
I guess, but not by design. It's just the way things go, isn't it? So. It's cool. I think the whole thing just is just something lovely. I mean, I'm not going to stop playing when we stop. I've got plans for other sort of musical stuff with people. We're not sure whether it'll be like a touring, gigging band as such, like Two Sick Monkeys is, but that might come in time. But definitely to make recordings with hopefully as many different people as possible. So it'd be like quite a fluid sort of revolving band, so it wouldn't be necessarily always same amount of people. So you keep getting different ideas coming in there, and then people's different take on things. So.
I like that, and I look forward to that considerably. Do you have a name for this band yet?
At the moment, yeah, the name I'm choosing is a name called the Mechanicals, which is an absolute bollocks band name, but it's spelt with the word McCann in it, as in Madeleine McCann's parents.
Okay.
So. It's my little tiny petulant bit of fury at them fucking cunts.
Well, yeah, they left their kid alone, and then it disappears, and nobody knows what happened.
Tons of money out of it, and bringing on everyone's sympathy, but not actually doing anything constructive. Really, it appears to try and resolve it, which would be the first thing would be to do. Tell the police where they put the body.
That would help, yes, definitely.
That's another thing for another day. But yeah,
yes.
Mechanicals it would be. So it's nothing to do with Mike and the Mechanics or anything like that. It's just a silly little pun.
It's a pun, but it's an appropriate one because it does work in the sense that they are front of the media all the time, and
it's insane. And anybody that questions their narrative of everything, they sue everybody. It's like if I don't have children, and I'm glad. I don't want kids, but like if I had kids, and one of my kids went missing, the last thing I'd be thinking of is fucking litigation all the time, suing people, or getting the Labour government's top press bloke in to be your fucking media liaison person. It's like you should be fucking ripping open dustbins, pulling fucking grass up with your fingertips,
doing everything to find your kid, even if it's gone.
Not going to meet the Pope or writing books to make millions. And in the books, she's saying about how she thought, the Portuguese police were fucking tossers. Her words, not mine. And it's this is the words of someone who cares about her kid. If you watch interviews with her, the child is the last person on their mind.
They're more worried about themselves, and they're image in the eye of the public.
It reeks of guilty conscience, like,
Yeah,
and
it does.
cover up. Like, it's awful because, like, you feel bad thinking something like that because, like, at the end of the day, something terrible has happened to a young girl. That was 10 years ago. It'd be 10 years in May.
Yeah, and she would be what, a teenager by now?
About 13 or 14 now. Yeah. So it's incredible.
It's a disgrace, and it's a very sad situation, and hopefully she has not come to something absolutely horrible in her life.
No, I think there's probably very little chance that she was maybe even alive when reported missing, and that. I mean, I don't fully believe that they killed her as such. Maybe it was an accident and they just panicked. Like, but there's something not fucking right about it. Like, you know.
Something is definitely not working with that.
Yeah.
Do your lyrics reflect your passion about certain topics?
It's a weird one with lyrics. Like a lot of the lyrics I write are mainly about things that happen to me personally, because you have first-hand experience, don't you, of things that are happening to you. Like so you can write with maybe a higher degree of passion, or even just pure outright anger and fucking hatred about things that happen to you. I used to try and write like political stuff because like we all care about things that are going on in the world, but I've found that I'm not the best person at writing about that. I don't have a good way of expressing that without it sounding a bit cliched and a bit like it's already been done. There are far better bands out there than me that do that, like, you know. So, but I mean, I have, like, we all have struggles with, you know, like feeling good about yourself or feeling happy or not having enough money to buy food and things, struggling with stuff like that, you know, family problems or whatever. So anything that you have I can't think of the words, but anything that affects you personally in such a big way like that, you do have like quite a well of substance to.
It's much easier to write about something like that because it comes from the heart.
Yeah, that's exactly the way to put it. Yeah, exactly. And you are knowledgeable about it because you're in your own mind, at least you're like the epicenter of this thing to you because it's happening to you or to people that you care about or even by the people that you care about, you know?
Exactly.
So that's my one. I'm not sure with Fred's lyrics. A lot of Fred's tend to be a bit more I guess like abstract sort of things. He'll put himself in the position of someone, like, say he's like a character in a movie or someone, and he's wrote some pretty cool songs about things like that, about you know, where like a hitman takes a body out to bury in the desert and things like that. So you have these like really weird things like that, and there was one we're recording at the moment that's like based on just all the crazy people in Victorian times that used to do lots of like weird drugs and, you know, the laughing gas type people and things like that. So like, but trying to put himself in the position of that, so is a more maybe a slightly more abstract maybe, and a weird, not weird, but a different train of thought to the way I'm a bit more basic and fucking this fucks me off, and Freddie's like
and he's more in dreams and fiction, and
that's it, yeah. And I like that, like, because it would, to me anyway, it would be shit if we both wrote the same fucking things, because what's the point? Like, you only need one person to do that, then, don't you? And
it gives a bit of diversity.
Yeah, and different perspectives on stuff. Like, I mean, some of the stuff he does is about personal things, but most of it is, I think, it's like he's putting himself in the mind of a different, maybe even imaginary character. You know, some of it might be from a film or so. Some of it might be real. I don't really question him. I just, like, if it sounds good and it looks good and he's happy with it, then
it works, and you go with it.
Brit Limon? Who the fuck is Brit Limon? Have you heard of Brit Limon? Who the fuck is Brit Limon? Have you heard of Brit Limon? Who the fuck is Brit Limon? Have you heard of Brit Limon?
Yeah, I've heard of him, that bald geezer with a camera.